Master Duel has been around for about a month now, and there's been a lot of talk about the game within the past couple of weeks. Master Duel content has been exploding both on YouTube and Twitch. Thanks for the 10k subs, by the way, guys. But please watch my other videos that aren't clips. I need to buy more Among Us plushies. And overall, the game is very widely received to be an overall success and fun experience by most audiences. However, regarding the competitive and even casually competitive audiences, they find that this game can be pretty lacking and boring in certain departments. So let's take a look at Master Duel 1 month later. Part 1. The price. I think that a lot of us figured out pretty early on that holy heck, this game is expensive. Even with a crafting guide and the insane starting gem bonuses you get as a new player, a lot of decks end up costing about 70 to 80% of your players' total free-to-play gems. And although this is great for new players, it can feel very frustrating to decide between building something that's extremely competitive versus something that you actually have fun playing when it comes to ranked grinding. And although this is great for new players, it can be really frustrating when you're trying to, of course, climb very high on ladder, or try and take ranked seriously, or semi-competitively. There isn't a ton of overlap between players who enjoy playing competitive decks versus having fun with the game. There aren't a lot of people, personally, that I found who have a lot of fun playing something like Drytron. There aren't a lot of people who have a lot of fun playing Eldritch. Most people will have like these pet decks that they're really fun and that are really enjoyable to them. And then they'll sort of have like this meta deck that they're like, oh, this deck is neat, like Sword Soul Tenyi, and then but in reality, they'll want to play like the actual fun deck. In tournament settings, it can be really frustrating to be locked into one specific deck due to price constraints and have to get more often than not schlonged by decks like Zodiac Tri, Drytron, and Eldritch. Even buying gems can feel like a scam. Like again, have you seen these gem prices? Like, holy heck. With Master Duel having some of the most expensive currencies I have ever seen in any gacha game ever. And I played Fire Emblem Fates, like, that game was expensive. I have an entirely different video talking about Master Duel's predatory cost system, so if you want to give it a watch, it's linked down in the description. But overall, I feel like Konami really hasn't taken the proper steps to making this game more affordable as time goes on, whether it be reducing the cost of gems, giving us more gems, stuff like that. Part 2. Ranked. Master Duel's rank system is arguably one of the worst I've ever had the displeasure of having to grind at. Despite having additional ranks literally existing within the game's code, the peak rank is Platinum 1, which on day of release, people are able to hit within 24 hours, me included. There is additionally no ranked placement leaderboard as well, like numerically based, unlike in games in League of Legends, where there's a direct ranked leaderboard of players' placements. Like, you will know who number 1 in the world is, you will know who number 5 in the world is, and it really makes reaching these high ranks feel really pointless outside of gem-based rewards. There of course exist cosmetic upgrades, but even these can feel extremely hollow, especially knowing that literal code file names haven't even been updated in the selection menus. Another issue I have with ranked grinding is that the fact that it's a best of 1. Personally, I think that for Master Duel and online simulators of this sort of nature, best of 1s are perfectly fine, and that should be the standard. I think Years on Dueling Book really nailed that message home for most people, and most people don't really want to be playing on a simulator for like 40 to 80 minutes. But because of the fact that the game is a best of 1, we can see that a lot of players are playing the same sort of strategies that aren't very fun to play against, especially now that the meta has been given a couple weeks to sort of flesh itself out. Decks like Adamantipator, Drytron, Eldritch, etc. The sort of decks that end up not only on multiple negations and disruptions, which isn't inherently bad if that's all they're ending on, but near impossible to out floodgate-like boards such as Buster Lock, 7 to 8 Material Heralds, and literal floodgates. Although it is a minor issue, Q dodging only exacerbates this issue and can make ranked grinding especially frustrating and tedious, especially when you get hit with that Alt F4 experience. Ooh boy, nobody loves that. These issues, although some minor and some major, really do compound onto each other to make a game that is extremely exciting to play upon the first couple of days of release, seeing all these varied decks on ranked and all sorts of ladder positions, with just eventually evolving into this homogenized glaze of half the ladder being casuals playing DMs and heroes, and the other half being Drytron and Eldritch players, and it just being really kind of boring to play against overall. Part 3, Solo Mode. Solo Mode, in my opinion, was one of the most disappointing things to have come out regarding Master Duel. The missions were overall boring cakewalks at best, and frustratingly asinine at the worst, specifically when it came to the loner decks, which at certain endgates were impossible or tedious as hell just because of the extreme power disparities between the loner and AI decks. You remember the Gem Knight deck against like the Thunder variant of Gem Knights? You remember the Element Saber one? You remember the Ruin and Demise one? These were horrible and just not fun in any way or capacity. Additionally, these rewards do give out cute cosmetic rewards, but overall they're extremely disappointing if you're someone trying to play solo missions exclusively for gems. Each gate only gives about 200 gems, which is enough for only about 20 to 30 packs total overall. The cosmetics, despite being, fun and cute and what I believe solo mode should have exclusively focused on in giving players an extremely wide selection of playfields and mates and etc., for players who are just looking to play Master Duel as a simulator or trying to get gems, because after those first 10,000 you're kind of in like hot water for getting gems in general, they just don't care about, and it's really frustrating to complete extremely difficult missions for like a bad Avramax icon. Personally, I would have loved it if gem rewards were boosted exponentially for these later gates. Stuff like maybe 1,000 gems I think would have been amazing, but as it currently stands, solo mode really does remain at best a cosmetic time sink, and at worst a disappointingly long and tedious gem farm. Part 4, Legacy Packs. Holy shit, these things were the worst. As post-match rewards or as solo mission incentives, you are sometimes given what are called Legacy Packs. These are similar to Master Packs in the sense where the card pool is enormous, however the packs are free. Sounds, good, right? No, they're the worst thing on planet Earth. First of all, Legacy Packs only give you 2 cards per pack. This isn't really an issue since it's extremely easy to farm hundreds of these over the course of a seasonal ranked climb, but what makes things especially frustrating is 2, you cannot dismantle anything you pull out of the Legacy Packs. This makes it extremely frustrating in instances where you're only pulling garbage URs, in the rare instance where you're actually able to pull a UR, because when you look at the card list, there are a lot of bad cards that should not be in here. Overall, I feel that Legacy Packs are just this extremely wasted opportunity to reward players for ranked grinding. They should have made these like Master Packs, or they should have just given us the pool of Master Packs, instead of giving us completely garbage URs like Curry Babylon. Or at least let us disenchant the Legacy Packs. Like, please, I want to disenchant my 6 Crooked Cooks into like a useful SR. I want to disenchant my fucking Curry Babylon into an Upstart Goblin. Like, please, game. Part 5, the Duel Pass. I personally feel that the Duel Pass was a big wasted opportunity in getting long-term players who could spend hundreds of hours on this game to really be rewarded for their time invested. And overall, it just is really frustrating to know that you could basically complete this entire Duel Pass in about 10 to 20 hours. It really isn't that hard to complete. Most people finished it on day 2 or 3 after just, ranked climbing for like 20 trillion hours and just being in the hyperbolic time chamber. I really feel like a lot more of the rewards should have been much more expanded upon. There should have been more mates, more gems, more crafting material, but we just kind of got like a Shadal artwork and a pot of greed mate. That really isn't that much of an incentive or reward to try and play this game habitually, playing this game long term, and especially the length of it being on release about 70 to 80 days. It really feels like for at least another month or 2, we're not going to get any real source of long-term playability for this game in regards to getting rewards and being able to create more fun and interesting decks for ourselves. And yeah, that's sort of just about it. This is very much just like off the dome that I just recorded at like 9 o'clock. This isn't really like a structured video, but this is just some of the major complaints that I really find disappointing that Konami really haven't updated on in Master Duel, despite this game having gone through multiple patch changes already and an entirely new ranked season. And personally, I just feel like this game has a lot it can do, it has a lot to live up to, and just right now it's falling short. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's Stevie Blunder, and until next time, see ya.